Alright, first and foremost, I want to start off by saying, Kol Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakal Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who rule well and who taught me this truth. And shalom to you sincere Akim out there listening, learning, and pushing this truth. And I'm going to jump straight into this video, Lord's willing, it's edifying. I'm gonna jump straight in because I know it's probably gonna be long. You know me. I'm gonna go into Rakal Kwadash. And like I said, Lord's willing, it's edifying. I got a couple videos I want to play in their entirety, and a couple scriptures as usual. All right. With that being said, the first scripture that I want to pull is going to be Exodus chapter 15, verse 3. All right. It says, "The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name." Okay. I'm gonna read that over one more time because that's gonna be probably when I'm gonna title the video. You know, I'm not sure, but probably that's pretty much the theme. All right. So Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. Okay. So with that being said, the first video that I want to play is off of RT. It's from today. Today's the 21st, May 21st, 2019. It says, see, from the 21st, yeah, Khan. War with Iran will mean official. This is a quote from Trump. Okay, it says war with Iran will mean official end of Iran. Trump as nuclear tensions escalate. Okay, so let's jump into the video. You know me, I'll probably stop it and Lord's willing, it's edifying. Okay, but the second video that I want to play is real fire though. But I'm gonna get this one out of the way first. All right, so with that being said, let's go.
The country's capacity to enrich uranium has been...
Turn the volume up. Too high. Like I said, this is off of RT. War with Iran will mean official end of Iran. That's a quote from Trump. Trump as nuclear tensions escalate.
The country's capacity to enrich uranium has been increased without adding any new chains or centrifuges. The design information related to this has been submitted to the International Atomic Energy Agency.
This comes against the backdrop of increased tensions between the United States and Iran, and also the continuing unraveling of the nuclear deal that was signed back in 2015.
If Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran. Never threaten the United States again.
Iranians have stood tall for millennia, while aggressors all gone. Economic terrorism and genocidal taunts won't end Iran.
This follows days of...
I'm going to stop it right there right quick. That's a powerful quote that he just said right there. All right. They kind of brushed over it. So I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to play it back, but I want to touch on this right quick. All right. It just says, I don't know how you say his name. Is it Javad? I don't know. Javad Zarif. Iranians have stood tall for millennia, while aggressors all gone. Economic terrorism and genocidal taunts won't end Iran. And I say that's powerful because, through the scriptures, we know that the Iranians are the Persians. Okay? So that's what he's referencing when he's saying they've stood tall for millennia. Referencing that old, referencing Persia, the Persian. Okay, if you need some names, go look up Darius the Mede, look up Xerxes. Go rewatch 300. Okay, those Darius. I think that was Xerxes in 300, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the Persians. Those are the Iranians. Okay. Salakia. And in the other video I'm gonna get, you'll see Iran is not no, excuse my French, no little pussy, no little fuck small ass country, man. The Persians, the Iranians, I think they're like 80 million strong, man, and they're all about it. Just like Israel, how Israel, most of their Israel has a strong I'm talking about those so-called Jews over there in Israel. They have a strong military, man. besides that Iron Dome, their military, they actually got, they have to because they got to fight off them damn Palestinians, man. They're constantly under attack. But Iran got a serious military um, industrial complex also, if you can receive it, because they are the Persians, okay? And they were a major empire at one point, okay? They ruled, okay? But anyway, but that's what he's saying. Iranians have stood tall for millennia, while aggressors all gone, starting with Alexander the Great, Alexander the Great, Alexander the Conqueror. According to the Apocrypha, it tells you that when Alexander came on the scene, evils were multiplied. Okay, he was the conqueror. He's the colonizer, the first Edomite colonizer. All right, okay, if you can receive it. All right, so that shows you that they know what's up, man. They know who they are biblically. They know what's up. Okay, the elites, the nobles, not the lower level flunkies, but you can see that these elites, they know what time it is, man. Okay. But anyway, Salakia, let me run it back a little bit. Like I said, this video is probably going to be long. All right. Let me run it back a little bit more. Start from there.
Iran wants to fight. That will be the official end of Iran. Never threaten the...
And these guys are hypocrites, man. It's not that Iran wants to fight. It's that these devils keep forcing their hand, man. They're bullies. And because they want... Anyway, their hegemony is through, man. They're fighting. They know their empire is going down, man. They're scratching and fighting, and they're seeing that, as the scriptures has, which I'm going to pull later, these weak nations are becoming strong again, man. They're not afraid of America. Okay, why? Because as the scripture said, Gog and Magog, man. Russia's coming to their defense. It's all biblical prophecy, man. We right here, just as the elder apostles always said, man. Okay, we getting closer and closer to this thing, man. Okay, if you measuring the time diligently in itself.
United States again.
Iranians have stood tall for millennia.
And like I said, I do my videos for the hopeful elect, the sincere Akim, man. The few sisters that watch, the Akwat, the few sisters, and the brothers that know what's going on, man. If you don't understand, ask a question. You got a sincere question. But in general, when I speak, I'm assuming what you shouldn't assume. But anyway, I assume that you guys, know what's going on at this point, at this time and juncture, But like I said, if you have a sincere question, put it on the comment board, okay? Salakia.
It's again.
Iranians have stood tall for millennia, while aggressors all gone. Economic terrorism and genocidal taunts won't end Iran.
This follows days of increased tensions that were sparked by the American administration sending bombers and an aircraft carrier to the Persian Gulf. Now, they did this because of what they perceived were threats from the Iranian side. It comes as the Iranian president says he is open to holding crisis talks with international partners, but that Iran will not respond to any kind of threats, any kind of hostility, and any kind of attempts at coercion.
We welcome negotiations, but we do not negotiate with a party that behaves like a bully and takes a knife out of his pocket and forces us to hold talks. We do not hold such negotiations with anybody.
The American position has been clear for quite some time.
The leaders of Iran are racketeers.
The world's largest financier of international terrorism.
Behind every problem is Iran.
I will rewind it because this video gonna be long. I didn't even hit the scriptures yet. But this is hilarious, man. Like I said, this is the right now what we're watching is as the elders in the GMS Dallas, GMS in Dallas class 3, they always say the theater of war. All right, and the brother out there, the elder out there in London too, I forget his name. Fear the Most High 7, GMS Fear the Most High 7. They always go into the theater of war, and that's what you're watching, man. This is and as Elder Apostle Gabar always says, this is the Lord's movie, man. And you watch it, it's hilarious, man. You can't make the brother out there. That's how you know we all one body, man. All one mind. It's hilarious, man. it's hilarious to be on the know and to see and to watch you scoffers. I mean, we get riled up like some knuckleheads. I digress. Some knuckleheads out there. I ain't even gonna touch on them too much, but some knuckleheads out there in Baltimore, I guess. The brothers getting on them. But it's funny to watch you scoffers, man, and you knuckleheads. Being on the inside. Lord's willing, we keep pushing, we make it to the end. But us brothers that, it's funny, like one of the brothers in the camp was mentioning, just seeing the scriptures manifest in front of you, man. It's hilarious. It's the Lord is just it's fearful, man. Also humbling, fearful. Anyway, Salakia. I went on a little rant, man. It was just you brothers know what I'm talking about if you in the truth, man. And you sincere, and But anyway, let's get back to this, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. Straight out the scripture, man. This is you could. Oh my goodness.
Has been clear for quite some time.
The leaders of Iran are racketeers.
The world's largest financier of international.
And you can not only is from the scriptures, Salaki again. I'll be jumping back and forth. It's not only from the scriptures. It's from what's that dude that got whacked? Aaron Russo. He told you. He said he told you about the RFID microchip. He told you they whacked his ass, man. They whacked him. He told you that one of the Kennedys told him that they were going to trip everybody, that they wanted, what else he said? That they were going to go into Venezuela. He said that they were going to go into Iran. It's about the oil. He Ben said that, man. And we've been, the elder, from Elder Apostle Tahar on down, he's been saying it, man. And you see it's manifesting. And the times are speeding up, man. Things are moving like lightning speed, man. Quickly. Okay? Salakia. But you guys are in denial, man. Just you 2/3 in La La Land. You see it. You see all the videos. You see the prophecies manifesting. But just like when Noah was prophesying over and over, warning you about the flood, you just in denial, man. But hey, that's because Yahweh Shem Yahushai as an angel blinded you, man. And this truth has become a snare and a stumbling block unto you.
Has been clear for quite some time.
The leaders of Iran are racketeers.
The world's largest financier of international terrorism.
Behind every problem is Iran.
What we've been trying to do is to get Iran to behave like a normal nation.
The United States has been applying a maximum pressure campaign against Iran ever since the nuclear deal began to collapse last year, and at the same time it's been imposing crippling sanctions. Earlier this month, Iran did warn.
And like I always said, and like the elders always say, and we all say the same thing. We're one body, one mind, man. Okay? We all keep saying the same thing. Trade wars lead to real wars. That's what all the wars were about. Okay? It's about money. Okay? What's that guy, Elder Apostle Gabar, always brings up? The Rothschild? Meyer M. Roth, something like that. One of the Rothschilds said, what's that quote? You guys know it, man. I care not about who to keep people worship or whatever, just giving control of the money or something like that. It's about money, man. Money and resources. That equals power. Okay? That's what true power is. Okay? That's what wealth is. Resources. Okay? And oil is a major resource. Okay? But in trade wars, when economical sanctions, you're crippling countries, man. They can't operate properly. Okay? So that's what you see. Okay? Because Edom is the oppressor. Just like Alexander the Great was the oppressor. Okay? No new thing. The Roman Empire was the oppressor. Oppressive nation. They're the colonizer. Okay? His desire is as hell. You can't get enough. Okay? Salakia.
Iran ever since the nuclear deal began to collapse last year, and at the same time it's been imposing crippling sanctions. Earlier this month, Iran did warn that it would begin enriching uranium to higher levels if the remaining signatories did not manage to offset or in some kind of way protect it against the American measures. Now, the European...
Right there. Let me stop it right there. Okay, because that's straight out the scriptures. Let me rewind that. Listen carefully, and I'm gonna pause it there and jump back in the scriptures. Okay? Salakia. Let me come back a little bit more.
Ever since the nuclear deal began to collapse last year, and at the same time it's been imposing crippling sanctions. Earlier this month, Iran did warn that it would begin enriching uranium to higher levels if the remaining signatories did not manage to offset or in some kind of way protect it against the American measures. Now, the Europeans have been trying to do this, but it's far from clear whether or not they'll succeed. Washington claims that Iran is looking to develop nuclear weapons, and this is a claim that Iran has consistently denied. At the same time, the nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has never found Iran in contravention of any kind of stipulations in the deal. What we're seeing happen is an increase from the Iranian side in production by some 3.67% of enriched uranium. A spokesperson.
You see? Straight out the scriptures. They're up in their stockpile. Okay? That's straight out the scriptures. You watching that this is the theater of war. Things don't just happen like that. It will eventually, soon, in a blink of an eye, all hell gonna break loose. But right now, you see, remember the Lord, the Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is long suffering, man. That all may come to repentance. Okay, so he's merciful, and that's what you see. But it's gonna speed up quickly. It is speeding up if you're watching the theater of war. Okay. Let me get this right quick, and then we jumping back into the video because it's just straight out the scriptures, man. Like we always say, you can't make this up. The brother in Cali, the elder in Cali, always says that. That's where I got that from. I believe his name is Yakal. If I messed up your name, Salaki, brother elder. But anyway, this is Joel chapter 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. All right. And we know there's two types of Gentiles, man. There's actual Israelite Gentiles, Israelites that are actual from the seed of Jacob, but are foreigners, Israelite foreigners, confusion of faces. Israelites that are adopted the customs of the other nations. All right, i.e. Hellenists. Go look up Hellenists. Okay, not gonna go into it. And the other term of Gentiles are actual other nations. Anyone outside of Israel, okay? This is talking about the other nations. Esau, Edom, Ammon, Japhet, all of them, okay? Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Because what did Exodus 15 and 3 say? The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name, okay? Okay, so Joel 3 and 9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, okay? Wake up the mighty men, okay? Why? Because as the scripture says, Russia, the Lord was going to put the hooks back in the Gog and Magog, okay? And play waking up the mighty men, okay? That's what you see happening. Russia's getting into that old Soviet Union spirit, that old SSR spirit, and Iran is resorting back to that old Persian spirit. Okay, that old Darius the Mede spirit, that old Xerxes spirit. Okay, go look those things up, man. All right, it says proclaim. Go watch 300. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords. Okay. And your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Okay? So your nuclear Iran, what are they doing? They're up in their nuclear stockpile, your uranium. Okay? And it's not going to be used for your so-called electricity or whatever, like they like to say they have nuclear plants for electricity. No, it's not going to be used for plowshares. No, it's going to be used as a sword. Okay, what sword? The ICBM, the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. Okay, the Lord's sword, the Lord's arrows, the Lord's glittering spear. Okay, glittering sword. I can't remember if it's sword or spear. All right, but anyway, it says beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and that's what America knows. America knows that they're getting the reactors going again, man. That they're waking up. That why? Because they see the prophecy, they see the prophets. Esau knows, the devil knows he has but a short time. Okay, he knows. The elites know. Even you 2/3 and you lower level Edomites know. But you're in denial. Okay, you're in denial. But it's gonna happen whether you like it or not. Okay, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. All right, I'm gonna stop it right there, and let me jump back into the video. Okay, I didn't even hit. I said I knew it was gonna be long. I didn't even hit the other video yet. The other video is fire.
Spokesperson for the Iranian Nuclear Agency has said that this does not mean that Iran will increase the number of centrifuges in use, which is one of the stipulations in the nuclear deal. But however, we could see that within weeks, Iran will reach the 300-kilogram limit, and this is a stipulation in the deal. So ultimately, what could happen is that Iran could soon go beyond the stockpile limitations, which are specified in the nuclear deal.
Beat your plowshares in the prune. What? I'm gonna get it again. It's straight out the scriptures, man. Beat your plowshares in the swords. They're gonna hit the stockpile limit, man. Why? Because they're preparing for war, man. Okay. All right. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Just as our elders always said. Okay. Just like the elder apostles always broke down this, man.
Now, publicly, both Iran and the United States say that they don't want to go to war with the other side. But the big concern is that any kind of miscalculation at this particularly precarious time could see the whole situation go.
I can't even say it. You heard her. I can't even say it. That's a tongue twister. Why? Because like the scripture said, he put the hooks back in the Gog and Magog, man. He put the hooks back in them, man. The Cold War is back. We at war, man. Because them crippling sanctions, all right? And like as the scripture said, they're gonna hate. Anyway, let me not jump the gun.
Big concern is that any kind of miscalculation at this particularly precarious time could see the whole situation going out of control.
Meantime, US President Donald Trump says he's ready to negotiate with Tehran, but only when they're ready. Trump also once again warned Iran against making what he called provocative actions or threats.
We have no indication that anything's happened or will happen, but if it does, it will be met, obviously, with great force. We'll have no choice. We'll see what happens. If they called, we would certainly negotiate, but that's going to be up to them. I'd only want them to call if they're ready.
We are in a pre-crisis situation right now, and a lot depends on the political will and the determination of the Europeans to join Russia and China, the other signatories to the party, in order to preempt this from getting into a full-blown crisis. This is a very critical situation that we are at the crossroad, basically, of peace and war. We've got a rogue president in the White House and surrounded by these uber-hawks that thirst for another war with Iran, and they're allied with Saudi Arabia and Israel, Iran's rivals, that may instigate a false flag, a planted accident, and so forth in order to lure Mr. Trump to war with Iran, despite his stated intention of limiting himself to economic warfare, which is really as bad as war itself.
See, economic sanctions are really as bad as war itself. There's so much I could say on that, but I want to keep it pushing because I don't want to make the video too long. You know what I mean? So this, like I said, is a fire video, so I want to make sure I play this whole thing. I know I'm gonna jump in here and there, so let's keep it pushing. I didn't even hit the scriptures yet. All right, so this is off of the Real News Network. The Real News Network. It's from today also, May 21st, 2019. It says Trump says the military-industrial complex is pressuring him into a war with Iran. Okay, which is facts, but it's really not the industrial complex. It's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Let me get a quick scripture, and I'll play the video. Hold on. This is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh, As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right, and we know the Hebrew word for heart is lab, and your lab is your mind. Okay, so the king's mind is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh. Okay, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay, and we know that the scriptures also say man's goings are of the Lord. All right. Well, anyway, let's we already brought out that the Lord is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Okay. Let's go off of the Real News Network.
And don't kid yourself, you do have a military-industrial complex. They do like war.
And that was President Trump in a Fox News interview with Steve Hilton on Sunday. And I'm Sharmini Peres coming to you from Baltimore. Here is a bit more of what President Trump had to say in that interview.
When I first came to office, one of the first meetings I had was at the Pentagon with generals. And they were showing me the Middle East. And they had 14 or 15 sites where there was nothing but war, problems. Every single one of those sites was instigated by Iran. It was Iran military. It was people paid by Iran. It was just, you have no idea. It was just, I said, this is terrible. They were so strong. I ended the Iran nuclear deal. And actually, I must tell you, I had no idea it was going to be as strong as it was. It totally, the country is devastated.
See that? Why? Because man's goings are of the Lord. The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. Okay? His mind. Okay? Let me run that back. And that's why we're going to go to war. Okay? Because Esau, Edom, is the oppressor. Okay? I'll run that back straight out of the devil's mouth himself. You hear what he said. Let me run that back, son.
When I first came to office, one of the first meetings I had was at the Pentagon with generals.
One of the first meetings he had was about Iran. And Aaron Russo told you that, like I said, they were going to go into Venezuela. It was already, they have an agenda. The wicked elite have an agenda, okay? You got to be able to use your eye solve and see and read between the lines, man, and see what's really going on, okay? They're all puppets, okay? We know who's running this thing.
What President
We're
Trump
not
had to
ignorant
say
of Satan's devices, okay?
In that interview.
When I first came to office, one of the first meetings I had was at the Pentagon with generals. And they were showing me the Middle East. And they had 14 or 15 sites where there was nothing but war, problems. Every single one of those sites was instigated by Iran. It was Iran military. It was people paid by Iran. It was just, you have no idea. It was just, I said, this is terrible. They were so strong. I ended the Iran nuclear deal.
They were strong.
And actually, I must tell you, I had no idea it was going to.
They were strong. So they got weak, indicating that they got weak. But what does the scriptures do? What did I just say? Let the weak say I'm strong. Wake up the mighty men. Why? Why? Because of those sanctions. There's always a cause and effect. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai plays chess. Like I said, this is the theater of war. This is Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's movie. Okay? And you're watching it unfold and manifest in front of your eyes.
Going to be as strong as it was. It totally, the country is devastated.
A series of events in recent weeks has created a dangerous tension between U.S. and Iran. On Sunday, Trump warned Iran not to threaten the U.S. or else it would face its official end, in quotes. Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, shot back, accused President Trump of genocidal taunting. Shortly after all of this, a rocket landed near the U.S. embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. Now, President Trump also warned of further threats from Iran targeting commercial vessels, including oil tankers or U.S. military vessels in the region. Trump did not blame Iran directly, but he did utter more threats against Iran.
We'll see what happens with Iran. If they do anything, it will be a very bad mistake. If they do anything, I'm hearing little stories about Iran. If they do anything, they will suffer greatly. We'll see what happens with Iran.
On to talk about all of this with me is Larry Wilkerson, former Chief of Staff to the Secretary of State.
Listen to this guy carefully, man. This guy dropped some bombs. Listen to this guy. Good. He dropped some heavy stuff.
Colin Powell, and now a distinguished adjunct professor of government and public policy at the College of William and Mary. Larry, good to have you here with us. All right, Larry, last time the U.S. asserted aggression of this kind in the region, it was against Iraq under the Bush administration, under Dick Cheney's administration. You were there inside the administration at the time. The Trump-Bolton-Pompeo plan will need a willing Pentagon. Apparently, Bolton is now not working at the White House on these plans. He's actually lodged himself at the Pentagon.
But Sharmini, you characterized the situation quite well when you compared it to the catastrophic decision and then execution of that decision to invade Iraq in 2003. We're looking at essentially the same train of events leading up to what could very well be at least a bombing, if not an invasion of Iran.
One trick pony, as the brothers say, okay? Esau is, and he's going to even bring it out, Esau is the basis of men, man, all right? The only thing that Esau has on his side is that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Isaac blessed him with the sword, okay? But he's really the basis of men, all right? He's not intelligent. This guy's even going to say how silly these people are, okay? But another thing that Esau does is, though, he accomplishes a diligent search, as Daniel says. He studies everything, okay? So he studied all the records. He studied all the empires, the Babylonian Empire, the Persian Empire, all the previous, and he studies them, okay? And learns and copies. He's a culture vulture, mimics, steals their gods, steals their thoughts, their ideas, the way they governed, okay? You see? He's the basis of men.
Quite well when you compared it to the catastrophic decision. And
he does the same thing over and over. Okay, all the wars, the same thing, the same formula. Sanctions and then wars. That's how he infiltrates them with his proxy armies. He does the same things over and over. The wicked elite, the Rothschilds, the ruling class, the nobles, okay? The ones that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is coming back to gather and bind with chains of a fetter and iron, okay? They do the same things over and over.
Pentagon.
Sharmini, you characterized the situation quite well when you compared it to the catastrophic decision and then execution of that decision to invade Iraq in 2003. We're looking at essentially the same train of events leading up to what could very well be at least a bombing, if not an invasion of Iran. And to answer your question directly, we don't have Jim Mattis in the Pentagon anymore. What we have is a sycophant, a member of the military-industrial complex par excellence, a Boeing man, Patrick Shanahan. So we do not have any kind of opposition at the highest level in the Pentagon. What we have is a man who will say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, and how high do you want me to jump? And it'll give me some more instruction before I come down. That's Patrick Shanahan. That said, there are some people in the Pentagon who will rue the day and will try to stop that day from arriving that military action against Iran is taken that might prove as unsatisfactory as it's going to be. And I mean the kind of military action, for example, we took against Syria, where we throw a few bombs and shoot a cruise missile or 2 and so forth, or even shoot a lot of missiles or drop a lot of bombs. All that's going to do is strengthen the resolve of Iran, put 80 million people in Iran against the United States instead of just the government and a few other hardliners. And it's going to cause us to have to reconsider everything we've done. And ultimately, the only thing we can do is...
You just hear what he just said? 80, that's not counting the government and the military. The people alone are 80, they're 80 million strong in Iran. So you can get that in your brain, how big the Persians are, the Iranians are. They're not to be fucked with, man. They're way bigger. And somebody was mentioning that camp, one of the scoffers that came up, he was talking about, I told him that Iran is a superpower of the Arab countries, man. It's Iran. Iran is the chief nation, the chief country, man. The head. Okay? Not Saudi Arabia. The only reason Saudi Arabia is powerful is because America backs it, okay? Gives them firepower in their allegiance. Just like Israel, okay? But manpower, military to military, it's Iran, man. Okay? They're 80 million people strong, man. Like I said, they are the Persians. Okay?
At that time to save face as well as to carry out our policy will be to invade. And that will be a disaster that will make the 10 years in Iraq look like child's play by comparison. And a few other hardliners. And it's going to cause us to have to reconsider everything we've done. And ultimately, the only thing we can do at that time to save face as well as to carry out our policy will be to invade. And that will be a disaster that will make the 10 years in Iraq look like child's play by comparison. Because Iran is not Iraq. I can't say that enough times. It's 80 million people, not 26 million people by comparison. Because Iran is not Iraq. I can't say that enough times. It's 80 million people, not 26 million people.
I'll let you hear that one more again.
4 times the size of Iraq. And that will be a disaster that will make the 10 years in Iraq look like child's play by comparison. Because Iran is not Iraq. I can't say that enough times. It's 80 million people, not 26 million people. It's 4 times the size of Iraq. It is not flat desert. It is very forbidding mountains, the Zagros Mountains, for example. It is territory that almost killed Alexander the Great. It is people who are...
I told you this man was dropping some bombs, man. Yo, this video was fire. I had to do a sit down on it, man. I knew it was going to be long because this is the main video that I wanted to get. This dude here was dropping some bombs, man. Okay? He could be a Jake. He could be an Edomite. I don't know. You know? We look like all nations, man. But his spirit is, he got some kind of understanding, okay? But we also know the scriptures say that their tongues shall fall upon themselves, okay? So he could be an Edomite just telling on himself. Or he could be an Israelite, okay? This isn't a color thing, okay? You like to call us black and all that. We're not black, man. We're different shades of brown. And we can be anything, man, okay? We're scattered. We're scattered amongst the nations, okay? As the scripture says, all right? But let me play this, run this back so you can hear this guy, man.
Solid in their homogeneity, more or less. It is a country that does have millions of men under arms and women too. And it has a special operating...
Like I said, just like Israel, they not to be, excuse my French, fucked with, man. They bout it. Like Israel, the men and the women go to war. The same thing with Iran, because they the Persians. Let me run this back some, Salakia. I want you to hear this again, man. If I pause it, you don't like my video, you don't want to watch it, go just cut it off, man. I showed you where it is. The Real News Network. Trump says the military-industrial complex is pressuring him into a war with Iran. You could go watch the whole video uninterrupted, all right? But anyway, I want you to hear this. This man was dropping some bombs.
For everything we've done, and ultimately the only thing we can do at that time to save face as well as to carry out our policy will be to invade. And that will be a disaster that will make the 10 years in Iraq look like child's play by comparison. Because Iran is not Iraq. I can't say that enough times. It's 80 million people, not 26 million people. It's 4 times the size of Iraq. It is not flat desert. It is very forbidding mountains. The Zagros Mountains, for example. It is territory that almost killed Alexander the Great. It is people who are solid in their homogeneity, more or less. It is a country that does have millions of men under arms and women too. And it has a special operating force that has learned, since we gave it the strategic power and position in the Gulf by taking out Saddam Hussein, how to fight. It learned how to fight in Iraq. It learned how to fight in Syria. It knows how to do what is called asymmetric warfare. If we want to see the Saudi oil fields go up in smoke under 200 or 300 Iranian ballistic missiles, let's just keep on going. What Trump saw and what Bolton saw, that they are now positing as a threat being presented by Iran, is Iran taking defensive measures, as they well should, given the provocations that we've thrown at them, in order to defend itself when and if we attack.
Larry, these tensions in the region begins actually with the U.S. withdrawing from the nuclear agreement. Then they started imposing and reimposing economic sanctions. Now these battleships have been sent to the Gulf, and attacks are pending. On top of that, we have the Saudi oil carriers that have been attacked. Some say these are all false flag operations to intensify the situation. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that would be my guess, too. If I were Iran, and I think I know the Iranians a hell of a lot better than this administration does, I would be sitting there waiting behind my defensive structure, as it were, and I would be aiming at inflicting the maximum possible damage on those assets that I think the United States is going to hurl at me, given the provocations that we have presented them. I would not be wasting my time striking here and there with something that's not really effective. And that's what the Iranians are doing. They don't want war. They don't want war at all. But they are prepared to defend themselves against what are incredible provocations put out by people like John Bolton and now Donald Trump tweeting that Iran will end, its official end will come if it threatens the United States. These are major provocations. They're not the kinds of things a great power should be saying to any other power in the world, let alone a power that is quite unequal to the United States. This is a situation that I would characterize as clowns and baboons in Washington, and I include in that Patrick Shanahan.
Basis of men. They were fools, as Job said. Basis of men. That's what I say. He might be a Jake, man. I don't know. He could be a confusion of faces, man. Israelite foreigner.
This is a situation that I would characterize as clowns and baboons in Washington, and I include in that Patrick Shanahan, Michael Pompeo, Donald Trump, and John Bolton, and people in Tehran who are determined to defend their state, no matter what we think about those people, no matter how heinous we might think they are. And I don't think that about 80 million Iranians. Maybe their government is heinous, but they're getting ready to defend themselves. And you better bet that all 80 million of those Iranians will join that defense, just as they did in the extraordinarily brutal and bloody war for 8 years with Iraq. They will not shy away from fighting back.
Larry, let's take a look at President Trump on Fox News, another segment of that interview.
You can reassure people you're not looking for some kind of conflict in Iran.
Well, I'm the one that talks about these wars that are 19 years and people are just there. And don't kid yourself, you do have a military-industrial complex. They do like war. You know, in Syria with the caliphate. So
Nah, buddy. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, he likes war. He loves war. Okay? He's a man of war.
I wipe out 100% of the caliphate. I say I want to bring our troops back home. The place went crazy. But if it was up to them, they'd bring thousands of soldiers in. They never want to leave. They always want to fight. No, I don't want to fight.
All All right, Larry, he says that he's being pressured by the military-industrial complex here, being very frank, and he says, no, he doesn't want to fight against Iran. Your thoughts on this?
I think Donald Trump is showing, again, the nature of his mercurial character. I do not think this president wants war. I think he is personally and institutionally, if you will, in his position as president, opposed to great powers doing stupid wars. He said that. He's opposed to catastrophic stupid wars like the war in 2003 that we started with Iraq. He's opposed to this kind of frittering away of American power. He's got other people around him, though, that in his inattention to detail are doing things. People like John Bolton, people like Elliott Abrams with respect to Venezuela and so forth. These people are doing things that Donald Trump, I think, in his heart of hearts, is opposed to. I don't think this is a president who wants war. Now, I can criticize him for all manner of other things, but I do not think he wants war. So that's why you see these kind of different statements coming out of him. One minute he's saying things like the military industrial complex is pushing me into war, things that President Clinton and President Obama.
A double-minded man shall be unstable in all his ways, man. He's a puppet, man.
I've said, for example. And on the next moment, he's threatening Iran, something that is totally counterproductive because you don't threaten Iran like you did Kim Jong-un and hope you're going to sit down at the table and talk someday. You are foreclosing that option when you threaten Iran. Different countries. The U.S. makes this mistake all the time. It thinks every country in the world fits its template of what countries should look like. And every country is different. And North Korea and Iran are in very different strategic positions and in very different circumstances and are very different cultures. So shouting and screaming at Iran, as he did at Rocket Man, for example, is counterproductive to the maximum.
Larry, last week we saw Pompeo was in Russia meeting with President Putin.
I'm going to shut it down there, man. I don't want this video to go too long, man. Y'all can go watch the whole video if you want. I'm going to hit some scriptures. It's already 47 minutes going. All right. Let me wrap it up real quick. Let me make sure I hit all the scriptures that I had. Okay. Exodus chapter 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. Okay. This is Joel chapter 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. For there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Okay? Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. The multitudes in the valley of decision, because that's what Yahweh Shaphat means, which is in the Middle East. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Okay? Let me keep going. It says Isaiah 54:16. It says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. And that's talking about those missiles if you can receive it. Okay? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai put it on their spirit to make those missiles, man. He's waking up the mighty men. Okay? Because those are the Lord, part of the Lord's army, if you can receive it. All right? And I got this too. I think it was further on in the video. They're going to go into how all these countries like Germany, if you go watch the whole video, they'll show you how they're going to go into how Germany and a lot of these countries are turning on America based upon how they react and how they're treating Iran. Okay? and that's all biblical prophecy. All right. Same thing with Brexit and all that. That's biblical prophecy. That's the toes, you know, miry and clay. All right, getting weak. But anyway, Revelation 17 and 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the." Let me start at 15. Revelation 17 and 15. "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples." And that's why we say America is that whore that sitteth upon the many waters. All these people, all these different countries, the colonizer. It spread this democracy. It's corporations everywhere, okay? All right? And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's what we talk about. NATO and the EU, they're going to turn on and shoot missiles on this place, on America, Babylon the Great, which is the whore. All right? All their allies are going to turn on America, okay? And shoot missiles over here. All right? And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. See, because man's goings are of the Lord. All right, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Okay, it says that's why they're going to turn on America. Whether you can receive it or not, whether you believe it or not, it's going to happen. Okay, and we're drastically approaching those days. All right, it says, for Yahweh hath put it in their heart, which your heart is your mind, your lab, to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give the kingdom, and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. All right? And with that being said, Lord willing, it was edifying. I know it's kind of long, but, you know, hopefully it made sense. You know what I mean? But like I always say, we almost out of here, man. Keep pushing. Shalom.